Welcome to this lecture series on environment and ecology presented by Mentors for IS in association with Bangalore IS Academy and Namak APSC. So in this particular session, we'll be discussing about eutrophication. Now, eutrophication is actually an important concept when it comes to environment and ecology. And several times you have had questions, UPSC or many other state public service commissions have asked questions based on eutrophication. So we'll just briefly understand what is this particular phenomenon which takes place when it comes to aquatic ecosystems. Okay. Now, eutrophication is in aquatic ecosystems a response to the addition of artificial or natural nutrients such as nitrates and phosphates that fertilize the aquatic ecosystem. Now, this usually happens through discharge of fertilizers and sewage into water bodies. See, this is primarily caused by the leaching of phosphates and nitrate containing fertilizers from agricultural lands into lakes or rivers. So, this fertilization of the aquatic ecosystem will result in the growth of green algae, which we see in the lake surface, and this is nothing but the physical identification of eutrophication. So I hope you understood this. So this this phenomena known as eutrophication is seen in water bodies when fertilizers or certain other nutrients are discharged into the water body, which is nothing but going to fertilize the aquatic ecosystem, because of which some organisms, that is nothing but your algae and certain other microorganisms, will be able to reproduce at a rapid rate, and this can be seen as a green layer over the surface of the water body. So this is nothing but eutrophication. So what happens is some algae and blue-green bacteria thrive on the excess ions, and the population explosion due to this of the algae and blue-green bacteria will cover the almost the entire surface layer. So this is known as algal bloom, but this growth is actually unsustainable for the water body. Now, once the algal bloom occurs, the surface layer, it results in oxygen depletion in two ways. So, once the algal bloom covers and occurs over the surface layer, it will result in oxygen depletion in two ways. One, it will prevent the diffusion of oxygen from air into water as the surface is now covered. See, we have discussed this earlier. The two ways that oxygen is introduced into the water bodies: one, through this air-water interface, oxygen is diffused into the water body. The other is through photosynthesis. So now, since it is forming a layer over the surface, it will restrict penetration of sunlight and therefore brings down photosynthetic activity and in turn oxygen production in the water body. Moreover, oxygen will be further taken up by microorganisms which feed off the dead algae during decomposition process. So what will eventually happen after eutrophication is that the oxygen level in the water body will continue to diminish over a period of time, and since the photosynthetic activity is also reduced, there is no production of oxygen. There is no oxygen which is added into the water body, but only the present level of oxygen is being reduced due to consumption of that oxygen. So now what will happen is, due to reduced oxygen level, fishes and other organisms begin to suffocate and die. Also, the anaerobic conditions which have been created will promote growth of bacteria which produces toxins deadly to aquatic organisms, birds and mammals. So all this will eventually lead to degradation of aquatic ecosystems, degradation of water and habitat quality, death of organisms, change in animal and population. Several of these things will take place, thereby affecting the ecosystem, that is the aquatic ecosystem. Okay, so moving on, what could be the causes of eutrophication? Now, the causes of eutrophication can be natural and man-made, but mostly man-made these days. Naturally, deposition of nutrients over centuries can result in eutrophication. Now, this also it is kind of discussed in the previous video when I said aging of lakes, when we discussed aging of lakes as it moves on from oligotrophic lakes to mesotrophic lakes and finally eutrophic lakes. So, naturally, deposition of nutrients over centuries can result in eutrophication. However, human activities, on the other hand, can result in eutrophication in a few years to few decades through discharge of untreated sewage, fertilizers from fields, industrial effluents, etc. So here the main problem is that when it comes to point sources, those sources may be regulated. However, as when compared to non-point sources, it becomes very difficult to regulate non-point sources, the discharge of these effluents and fertilizers and various other chemicals from non-point sources. Now that is the biggest problem over here, and as of today most of the eutrophication that is taking place on water bodies, especially in cities like Bangalore, this is nothing but due to man-made reasons. Next, what could be the effects of eutrophication? Okay, now the first effect is change in ecosystem. See here, eutrophication eventually creates detritus layer in the ponds and lakes and produces successively shallower depth of surface water. Eventually, the water body is reduced into a marsh whose plant community is transformed from an aquatic environment to a recognizable terrestrial ecosystem. So it could happen. An aquatic ecosystem gets transformed into a terrestrial ecosystem. So there is a change in the ecosystem. Second, there is a decrease in biodiversity. Since algal blooms restrict the sunlight to penetrate it affects the photosynthesizing plants and therefore results in death of plants. As the oxygen level drops, aquatic animals also begin to die, resulting in decrease of biodiversity in this aquatic ecosystem. Third, invasion by new species. As there is abundance in nutrients, it may also lead to competition between organisms for resources while rapidly reproducing, and also invasion of new species. Apart from that, I've already mentioned you may have several organisms dying. These dying organisms may be replaced by new species as well. This is another big problem when it comes to eutrophication in an aquatic ecosystem. Fourth, we have toxicity. So what can happen is some algal blooms, when dyed or eaten, may release neurotoxins which can kill aquatic organisms. There is also increase in biomass of inedible toxic phytoplankton associated with eutrophication. This can also result in the increase in toxicity of water bodies. Finally, we can have few other effects such as depletion of dissolved oxygen, which I've already mentioned, decrease in water transparency. It also affects navigation, may change the color and smell of water, decreases the productivity when it comes to certain organisms in a water body, therefore affecting the entire aquatic ecosystem itself. So this particular phenomena known as eutrophication can have a very drastic effect on an aquatic ecosystem. So if these are the effects, what can we do in order to mitigate this? So there are certain measures that we as humans can take to ensure that this does not happen or this does not take place. Okay, so few of the steps that can be taken are that we may create a buffer zone to ensure that the discharge of all the effluents is into the buffer zone rather into the lake or a pond. We can minimize non-point pollution. This can be done through education and awareness when it comes to people. Ecological restoration can be taken place in such water bodies which has already been affected. We can treat industrial effluents before it is actually let off into the ecosystem. We have to ensure to reduce combustion of fossil fuels, which apart from affecting the climate, apart from resulting in climate change, also increases the level of nitrates and phosphates in the water body. So all these things, if taken into account, and also efficient and judicious use of fertilizers if done, we can ensure that this particular phenomenon is brought down and eutrophication of lakes does not take place so easily. So these steps will help in the mitigation process. Okay. Next is harmful algal blooms. Now, algae or phytoplankton are nothing but microscopic organisms naturally found in water. So, when the environmental conditions are favorable for their development, they reproduce rapidly, and this is called as algal bloom. So, when they reproduce rapidly and increase suddenly in population, it is known as algal bloom. So a bloom often results in a color change in the water. Now this color change may be of different types. It can be of many colors, but mostly red and brown, and hence sometimes it is referred to as red tides or brown tides. In one of the previous videos, I did show you an image of a red tide, which is nothing but due to increase in the population of phytoplankton. So therefore, a reddish tinge is added to the water, and hence we refer it to as red tides or brown tides. Now, the algal bloom usually occurs when the concentration of nutrients increase and also the water is warm. So please remember, two things actually aid in this algal bloom or eutrophication. One is increase in concentration of nutrients. The other is temperature. Warm water or increase in temperature is actually conducive to algal bloom. Now, since we are discussing about harmful algal blooms, I must mention that most algal blooms are not harmful, but some may produce toxins which may affect fish, birds, mammals, and even humans. So eating fish from such waters or breathing toxic aerosols from such algae can make people sick. So you can see this image over here where the fish has died. It could be due to toxicity or due to depletion in oxygen level. So swimming in such water bodies is highly not recommended. So please don't do this. Okay, so this covers up eutrophication. If you do have any doubts regarding eutrophication, please do write to us in the comment section. Thank you. Please do follow us for the next video.